What part of the campus are you at exactly?
Yeah, we are at Dixon Plaza, and this is the area we've actually been the last few days. So if you look behind me, there are the barricades here. On the other side of this courtyard is where the encampment is, and that's kind of where the library and Royce Hall is. So this is where a lot of the activity has been over the last few days. Now you can see that barricades have been set up. There is a line of police here kind of keeping everybody out of the area just right next to the encampment. About a half an hour ago, from what we hear, the police and the other law enforcement that are here, there was a crowd of people that had gathered. They moved them down the street, and they're keeping them at an even bigger distance. You can hear those flashbangs going while we talk. They moved the crowd away, and from what we heard, they did arrest a few people. We've been seeing a lot of law enforcement. They have kind of the zip ties on their legs, and they've been kind of taking people and detaining them. Now, we don't know exactly why they're detaining some people, why they're just kind of moving others out of the area. But from what we can gather, they're right now just trying to keep this area clear, because what we saw in the evening hours and overnight is that a big crowd had kind of gathered. We don't know if they were trying to actually get into the encampment or if they were just trying to show their support for the people in the encampment. Now, we have not been able to go up to there, but you can hear kind of the flashbangs going off. We don't know if that is coming from law enforcement to try to be an effort to clear the encampment, or we don't know if there is anybody inside the encampment actually setting things off themselves. We had seen on social media when people inside the encampment were kind of talking about supplies that they needed, they said that they wanted people to bring in tear gas and things like that. And we've seen in some of the video smoke kind of being going up. So that's kind of the question and the confusion this morning is when we do see the smoke in the air, is that coming from law enforcement? Is it coming from someone in the encampment? It's not clear exactly. One of the things that I think has also been confusing over the last few days is so many people are wearing masks, and we don't know if it's for their protection, if they're worried about tear gas or something like that, and so they're wearing masks to protect themselves, or if they're wearing masks to kind of hide their identity. And I think that's the other question. We don't really know. I want to show you just behind me a number of highway patrol are kind of parking in this area. We see just more and more law enforcement coming here. As we were walking onto campus, the entire line kind of walking on is highway patrol, LAPD, university police. We also saw a lot of fire engines here. So there is a very big law enforcement presence. And right now it feels like on this side where we are that they're just kind of standing guard, keeping people away from this area. But again, this is a very large campus. There are different areas where people are gathering. And we don't know if this is the same vibe you kind of have on the other side of the encampment, or if it's a little bit more active, if people are actually being detained in that area. Can you tell me who you are and what's happened? So there are a number of people being taken out of the encampment area. They have zip ties. They're being led away by CHP. We just talked to a couple people who were in front of this group, and they said that they were faculty. They were here showing their support for these students, and they were taken away. I said, did they tell you why you were being detained, why you were being taken away? They said no. I asked them how they felt about the response to everything that's been going on with law enforcement and by the university. And they said they really think that what's happening is that their students have this right for free speech, for protest. Their rights are being, kind of infringed upon. They came out here to show their support. They've been taken away. They don't know exactly why. They don't know exactly why some people are being detained, why others aren't. If we pan around, you can see that there's another group coming out here being led out. Yeah, we're closer to the encampment right now. This is right on the edge of where the students and people that were protesting are. And from what it looks like, law enforcement is going in and kind of taking groups of people out. They're bringing them kind of here outside the barricade. It looks like they're searching them, putting zip ties, and then leading them out. Do you want to talk to us about what happened?
No.
Are you a student here, or are you a protester?
I don't.
So the unfortunate thing is a lot of the people who have been in the encampment a few days don't really want to talk to the media. I feel like there's a little bit of a trust issue there. So that person, when they were being led away, said Free Palestine, but then didn't want to answer any questions about exactly what happened. We did talk to one person who was led away a few minutes ago, and they said that they were a faculty member. They were here just showing support, and they were detained and led out. And again, this is kind of what we're seeing, is that they're going in, law enforcement. There's a lot of CHP, there's LAPD, other law enforcement here. They're going in, they're taking people out, it looks like in small groups. It looks like they're searching them here, making sure that they don't have any weapons or anything. Yeah, you know, it's kind of hard to make out what all of these signs say. This is what used to be the kind of edge of the encampment. So you can see the metal barricades, all the plywood, even some of the tents have kind of been dismantled and kind of thrown here. And they're kind of keeping media on this side away from the actual encampment. Now, from what it looks like, a lot of the people that were inside, it looks like they've kind of just linked arms. They're facing off against officers. A lot of them look like they're wearing masks, and they kind of have goggles and hard hats. So they kind of look like they were prepared for this moment. They're just kind of not resisting. They're just standing against the officers. And from what we can tell, as more flashbangs go off, officers are kind of going and taking a few people at a time, leading them out, zip tying them, searching them, and then kind of leading them away. You know, we're in the middle of what used to be an encampment. If you look down, you can kind of see all the signs of what they used to have here. Cut ties with war criminals. That's one of the things that people here had been saying. They wanted the university to divest from companies that were doing business with Israel. That is why they were been out here for the last week. The police have moved in the last couple of hours, and they're starting to now take some of the people that were in this encampment and detain them. You can see them to kind of bring them over away from the major part of the crowd. They're zip tying them individually, doing searches, and then they're leading them away. Throughout campus, there's kind of some buses that have been pulled up to take folks away. It doesn't seem like people are resisting. It seems like a lot of people in the encampment knew that this was going to happen, so they kind of were prepared. We saw a lot of them kind of standing arm in arm, not resisting when police came. They were chanting, saying things like, "We will not go," but when they actually were kind of individually taken apart, like, people have not been resisting. We see police now kind of searching them one by one, making sure that they don't have any weapons, that there's no danger here.
We were just listening into your live shot right now, you talking to that student.
It's worth it for a free Palestine.
Back up and give us space, okay?
So, Chris, that was a student, a current student at UCLA. She said she's a senior, and she said she doesn't mind because, you know, she was smiling actually as she was being taken away. And I said, I guess you expected this. And she goes, well, I'll do anything I can to get the message out that we need to free Palestine. She says that she feels like law enforcement, that they're you know, part of the problem, that they're part of the system of oppression is what she called it. And she said that, you know, she's out here because she believes that what is happening in Gaza, what's happening with Israel, that's something that they need to draw attention to. So she said she's happy to kind of sacrifice herself, her possible future, to get this message across. Now, we don't know if a lot of the other people that are in this group kind of feel as strongly. A lot of them have been kind of quiet. They haven't wanted to talk to us. They haven't wanted to engage with us. But she felt very much that she wanted the message to get across, that there is a reason that they've been here, that they stayed out here and intended to stay here. You know, a few moments ago when law enforcement was kind of walking through here, I heard them talking to each other. He said they're telling students they have the right to leave. Like, they're saying, we want you to go. If you want to go, they'll let them walk out on their own. It's the ones who have chosen to stay that are being detained, that are being searched and zip tied. Yeah, guys, we're in Royce Quad. The encampment that we've been talking about and it's being cleared is right over here to this side between Royce Hall and the library. And we've been seeing people detained and moved out of this area, and you can kind of see what's left behind. They really had been here for a week, and they had built up kind of a community here. Now, on the other side of the quad, we are hearing a number of protesters. I believe this is Jan's Steps. And it looks like these are not people that were part of the encampment. It looks like in the last day or last 12 hours or so, a number of people have come up these steps, kind of created their own protest over there, and you can see that the line of officers are keeping them from coming actually up into the quad area. But it looks like there is a big group that's here. They've got megaphones, they're chanting, they're waving the Palestinian flags. Right now, law enforcement is allowing them to gather. They've put up barricades so they can't move. But there's a bigger crowd that looks like has been gathering in the overnight hours, showing their support for those in the encampment. You said you were brought in by UCLA specifically to help clear the encampment. From your perspective, how did that process go?
Yes, UCLA Police Department requested our assistance, and the goal was to clear the encampment of protesters. As you can see, the encampment has been cleared, and the operation went well. We did take items were thrown at our officers, fire extinguishers, smoke. However, the encampment was cleared in approximately 3 hours.
You know, we heard the dispersal notice earlier in the evening yesterday. Why did it take so long for your officers to move in, and why do it in the middle of the night? When we were watching, it seemed like because of all the equipment here, and I mean, we can look behind you, there's tables, there's chairs, there's tents. It felt like it made it a little bit harder for everybody to navigate in this small area.
Yeah, it takes time to coordinate a big operation, and where we brought in more than 250 CHP officers from throughout Southern California. So it takes time to coordinate. I can't go into details as far as the tactics or the planning, but the lapse was, or the delay was because it takes time.
We have live team coverage across campus. Let's begin with Tina Patel with a look at the aftermath. Tina.
Well, Amy, UCLA sent out a notice earlier saying that all classes would be remote today. They were asking both students and faculty to stay away while they try to deal with the aftermath. Behind me, this is Royce Quad, and this is where that encampment had been for the last week. You can see that crews are in the process of trying to get everything cleared. They've brought in heavy equipment. They've brought in dumpsters to get the area cleared. We have some video from earlier this morning, and you can see there is a big staff that came out to try to take away the remnants of this encampment. As we said, there was more than 100 people, it looked like, that were inside that had been camping out here. They had kind of built a community. They had their tents, they had tables set up, different areas where they were passing out food and hygienic items, and it looked like they were in here for the long haul.